Just as if I wanted to go to the supermarket to get a bottle of milk, I would put one foot in front of the other in the most effective and efficient way I could to go to the supermarket. Where this shifts in awareness between, and it was elegantly framed, the distinction between external operational deadlines and internal manifestation timelines, is that you are not putting the onus or pressure on the result to deliver your DCA, right? In other words, if this quarterly target isn't met, I'm going to do my best. But if it isn't met, the universe will figure out a different way for me to get to my goal, ultimately. Make sense? If I'm just going to go to the supermarket, if the supermarket happens to be closed when I get there or runs out of milk, that's okay. I'm not going to panic. I'm going to go to another supermarket. It's going to make me late for getting back for dinner, but I'll deal with it in the best way that I can. See how there's a devoid of urgency, emotional spark. There's a determination and a focus, but there's not a raising of importance. Because path of least resistance is what's involved. And with everybody else on this planet having the same amount of opportunity for free will, things shift in the future because it's probability based. Again, Tom Campbell 101. Which means that probabilities are always changing. Hence, a new future is always available. However, if just like the sat nav, if you leave right now to go to your destination, it'll calculate the best route and it'll give you an ETA. And that's your quarterly target, and you're going to try to hit it. And you're going to drive your best along those roads. But are there things that can happen that haven't even happened yet before you get in the car that could happen, that could affect that route and that time frame? Of course. And there could be an accident, there could be unscheduled roadworks, there could be a traffic light failure, 1,000 things outside of your control. All you can do is put one foot in front of the other. But what we're talking about here is the quarterly targets, the revenue commitments. That's all good stuff. But if you put internal pressure on yourself that this is what has to happen in order for my DCA to work, then you've got a conflict. Because the universe isn't working to your time frame. And there's variables that could shift that around. So by all means, run your business like clockwork as best you can. But don't put pressure on yourself if something doesn't go according to plan, because that's not your job. It's the job of the chief how officer to go figure that out. Does that give a bit of clarity to people that were wondering around that sort of distinction? It's not a laissez-faire, I'm going to give up my commitment to schedule. Hell no. Otherwise, you don't have a taxi business or an airline, right? You've got to run your trains on time. But if this train's late for whatever reason, or if this train is on time, but it still doesn't have the required amount of revenue for the passengers, that's okay, because the universe is still going to find a better way to figure it out for me, or it's protecting me from something else. Either way. Okay, we have one more question. It says, Peter, how do you lower your importance if you're signaling your intent every day and then at least 5 minutes every 3 hours? Isn't that increasing the importance due to the repetitive nature of what you're doing? Just signaling once and being grateful it's done, you're affirming that you know. Why keep repeating the signal, which is like showing that you don't believe it's fulfilled? If the universe perceives and records everything, then you just need to transmit once. When you order food at a restaurant, you don't keep telling the waiter the order. I love the framing, Boris. Let me phrase it a different way, see if you can hear it, right? Well, if you go to the gym and get fit once, why do you need to go back? Surely that's it. It's done, right? Because if you go to the gym, go to fit, it means you don't really believe that you're fit. If you've got to keep going, right? It doesn't work that way. You see, if you go to Newton's second law, right, thermodynamics, what does it state? It states, essentially in our language, that if you do not continue to apply a orderly force to a certain object or direction, it will descend into disorder, right? So if you go to the gym and you get fit and then you decide that that's it, you're done, and for the next 3 weeks you eat crap and you don't exercise, what's your body starting to do? Starting to de-evolve, starting to get into more disorder. You're losing fitness, not because you didn't go to the gym once, but because environment beats will. So for one of the reasons you want to continue to broadcast is simply to maintain momentum and direction. Why do I need to keep pressing the accelerator if I'm on the motorway? Because if you take your foot off, the car's going to slow down. Yeah, but it's heading in the right direction. Doesn't matter. You've still got to keep applying the gas to show the car that it's still going in the right direction. So when you visualize continuously, you're telling the universe, this is still what I want. I'm still going forward in this direction. I'm still okay with this. I'm still happy about it. It's not like, oh, well, I'm reminding you in case you think I forgot. Oh, well, you know, I'm still not really sure, so I'm going to do it again. That's not the energy you're putting out. Consistency is massively underrated. And the best example I can give you is there's two ways to take a fortress. One is through a bombardment and storming the fortress. And the other way is through what we'd call a lengthy siege. In other words, you starve the people out. Now, most of your previous habits, thinking patterns, lack, limitation, self-doubt are stuck firmly in the fortress of your mind. Have you noticed that? The way to get them out either can be a significant emotional event. Like I said, a near-death experience has a pretty decent way of erasing past fears and limitations. Right? Or the birth of a child. You become a parent for the first time, and now you have a significant shift in your relationship to responsibility or something. So an SE, a significant emotional event. But for the vast majority of people, to achieve the level of mastery or relationship to time or relationship to their goal or whatever it may be, it requires taking the fortress by a lengthy siege. Another way of saying that is consistency is king. Environment beats will over time every time. You've heard me say that 1,000 times. I don't feel like doing my meditation and visualizing today. Well, then the environment inside your mind is going to start to degrade. An environment beats will or desire over time every time. So if you constantly and consistently are focusing on what you want from a place of, I don't need it because I feel like I already have it, therefore I'm celebrating it in advance. Yeah, I'm grateful. I'm stepping into the future of my dreams now to the point where my cells believe it's real. Wow, what a shortcut. What a biohack that is for success. Right? Or go work for 20 years in Buy Me and see if you can get there that way. And then finally get to the top of Success Mountain and realize you want to jump off because it wasn't what you thought you were working for when you could have done the same thing 20 years before and had an amazing journey getting there. You get to the top of the mountain and realize you missed every sunset along the way. And now it's nighttime.